Can see.
Good evening, good evening, good evening. How's everyone doing tonight? I know I had to cut my live short yesterday, and I said that I would be answering y'all's questions tonight. So we're going to talk common business mistakes, and then if you had comments from yesterday and I didn't get to them, I will get to them, but I got some new highlighters. Anyone else into office supplies? I love office supplies. It's like my addiction.
Yes.
Well, say hi to Mom. There's Mom. She wants to be in the mix, so you know. Okay, so common business mistakes. So some of the most common business mistakes, one will be our business name. Now, a lot of times we're fired up about our business and we want to name it, blah, blah, blah. But we need to make sure that we are researching our name to make sure that, one, it's available. Okay, so before you just put your name on an LLC, you need to first Google the name. Is there another business that has that name in another state? Number two, you need to go to GoDaddy.com. Can you have that name in a .com form? So if my business is Joy's Lashes, can I have joyslashes.com? Because you really don't want a .net, a .us. You want to have a .com. Now, if you're just in love with your name, you've already started your business, your name already has some goodwill, and you're just like, I'm going to just run with it, we'll do what you need to do. But you want to always make sure that you can at least have a .com for your website or some kind of remix it. Google it. Third, check your social media handles. Okay, so is there already someone on Instagram? Is there already someone on Facebook? Those are some things you may want to consider before naming your LLC, your corporation. Another thing about a name, especially when it comes to funding, is you want to make sure that your name is not in a high-risk industry. So a high-risk industry is going to be an industry that banks feel like go bankrupt quickly, okay? You can, whoever you're banking with, you can Google the bank and find out what industries they feel like are high risk. Some popular high-risk industries are going to be logistics, transportation, car dealership, credit repair, anything CBD, tax preparation, real estate. Okay, so if I have Joy's Auto Dealership, flag. If I have Joy's Logistics, Joy's Trucking, flag. If I have Joy's Real Estate Investments, flag. Okay, so if you are in a high-risk industry, what you may want to consider is having a generic corporate name. Okay, so something like Joy Holdings, Joy Enterprises, J&J. And then you can get a DBA, which is doing business as, and you can do business in another name. Okay, but you may want to consider, not saying what industry you're in if you are in a high-risk industry. Now, if you already have a logistics, a trucking, a dealership, whatever in your name, it's not the end of the world. You will have to make sure that all your I's are dotted and all your T's are crossed when it comes to funding. And then what a lot of people will do, they will form another generic company and kind of remix it with that. Okay, so you want to make sure that, one, we research our name, and then two, if our name is in a high-risk industry, that we kind of mask our industry. Another common business mistake that I see business owners making is forming their LLC late. And when I say late, I mean I've had clients who have been in business 8-10 years before actually registering their business or forming their LLC or corporation. And the reason why that's a problem is because when you're on applications and you're applying for things, they're going to ask you, how long have you been in business? Well, if I've been, doing lashes at my house with no corporate structure for 10 years, but for 1 year I formed my LLC, the answer has to be 1 year, because that's the year that I formed my LLC. So you always want to make sure besides a lot of other reasons, is that we form our LLC in the beginning of our business journey so that we can get credit for all the time that we have been in business. Another common mistake that I see business owners making is we are not tracking our cash flow / we don't know our numbers. Okay. So here's the thing with business. Business is everything about numbers. The first number we gotta know is how much is it going to cost for this bad boy to run every single month. Okay. So we got to factor in rent, lights, cable, payroll. If you have any kind of marketing, if you have any kind of subscription base that you're doing, if you have a product based business, on average, how much are we spending a month? You need to know what that number is. So it takes me $10,000 just to move my business every single month. The reason why we got to know this number is because every month you already know I am in the hole until I make 10. Once I make 10, I have broke even. I haven't made a profit yet. If you don't know what that number is, a lot of times people play catch up with cash flow, meaning this: whatever money I make this week, I'm using that money to pay my bills. And then whenever I make money the next week, I'm using that money to pay these bills. So you're always using your weekly cash flow. Here's the problem: that one week that you short. That one week a hurricane came and everyone, was at home because the roads was flooded. The one week a holiday came into play. Or one week it was just bad. When you are off 1 week and we are consistently needing that cash for every single week, it's going to throw you behind. Then what happens? Once you get behind on cash flow, now we robbing Peter to pay Paul. And sometimes we be robbing Peter and Paul to pay Mary. Okay, so we behind on the cable bill. We putting half on the rent. We're behind a month on the rent. And that snowball gets bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. Okay, so you cannot play weekly cash flow. What you really need to do is come up with a budget. And if you need help, book your girl. But what you really want to get to a place is where you are a month behind on your cash flow. Meaning this: we're in August. Okay, so we're in August. So you're able to be in business for a whole 30 days and not spend none of that money. So if I'm in August and let's just say I make 30 grand in August, on September 1st, I have 30 grand to play with. I know my bills for Joy's Lashes is $10,000 a month. I take that 10, I pay all my bills. I got 20 setting aside to know, am I going to do inventory marketing or am I going to put some of the savings? But it's sitting there. I'm not using my cash flow weekly. I'm a month behind, meaning the month I am working in, I don't need that money to pay bills because my bills already been paid. You want to get your cash flow there. When you're on that weekly cash flow, and trust me, if you're there, I'm not talking down on you. If you're there, it's not the end of the world. When you are first starting up, you're going to be robbing Peter and Paul, and Mary at times. Okay. I've been there. I get it. But you want to get yourself on a schedule to where you have enough cash flow coming in. And that comes from knowing my numbers. So if I know it costs me 10 grand to run and I make 11 grand, that 1,000, I can't do nothing with it because I know next month I got to, I'm back in the same journey. When you don't know your numbers, and let's just say I made 15 this month, baby, let's ball. I'm out of town. I'm in Miami, or maybe I'm getting more inventory, but you only made $5,000. Like let's just kind of plan where that extra 5 is going to go. So cash flow management is key. A lot of times people are looking for funding because they are short on cash flow, and that means either we're not making enough sales or we're bleeding somewhere. And when you throw good money on bad debt, you are just prolonging the inevitable. Okay, so you got to get a control on cash flow management, and knowing your numbers. Another common mistake I see is a lot of times we get the business, we get the website, we got the inventory, and we have a hot product or service, but we're kind of like just sitting, waiting for the money to come to us. You got to go get the money. Okay. So if you are the owner of a business and we are trying to grow, you need to be at some industry specific events. Okay. So if you're in real estate, we need to be at some kind of real estate event. If you are in trucking, we need to be at some kind of trucking conference course. You need to save up enough money to be in VIP. Okay, we are not doing general admission for this reason. If you are new in the industry, if you are trying to break through in the industry, you need to find yourself a mentor. You need to find yourself someone that knows what they're doing. The people in VIP are either going to be a speaker, meaning that they're an expert in some kind of field. People in VIP are going to be people who are killing it in the industry because they're not tripping on the VIP interest, the VIP entry price. So if you're in VIP, I'm sitting next to the movers and the shakers. I'm in the break room with the movers. I'm in the room with the people who are where I want to be. So when you're at a conference, sitting somewhere, what are you going to do? Hey, how you doing? You're going to speak to the person, probably going to pass contact information, but you have now put yourself in an area where all the experts, all the people who know the ins and outs are there. Versus trying to DM someone on Instagram, following random people on Instagram. We really haven't seen, have they really performed? I mean, it's really easy to have smoke and mirrors on Instagram. I can rent me an Airbnb. I can rent me a car. I can, Photoshop me, a little sales log, my Shopify account. I mean, it's a lot of smoke and mirrors. Okay. You want to be at a conference where people have a track record. Hey, here, if I'm trucking, here is my warehouse. Here is my facility that has my 15 trucks. I have contracts with boom, 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 boom. If you are in real estate, hey, I own, 1,200 properties in these states. You want to put yourself in the room with the experts so you can learn. Even if you're already killing the game, you want to be with other experts because guess what? If you are the big fish in your pond, that means you need to be in another pond. Okay, when I had my salons, I was the big fish in the pond. There was no other black salon doing what I was doing. So where was I? I mean, I'm at Bonner Brothers because I'm black, but I'm at Paul Mitchell. I'm at Avena. I'm at Tony and Guy. Okay, what's going on with this color? Okay, how are y'all doing your pricing? Okay, well, what kind of customer service or rewards program do you have? What kind of bonuses do you have for your employees? I'm talking to the franchise people who have corporate stores. You cannot be the biggest fish in your pond. You got to go find you a bigger pond with some bigger fish because if you are the biggest fish, you're going to be stagnant. You're not going to grow. If you know everything, you're not going to grow. Okay, so a lot of times, we're waiting for the people to come in. Go get the knowledge. What is this person doing for marketing? How did this person grow their business? What is this person's, systems and policies and procedures? How do they, hire their employees? How do they, test their product? But you got to pay that. You have to pay to play. You can't be in general admission because you are not going to be where you need to be. You got to first be in the room. Okay, so I always advise people go to a conference. If you're interested in an industry and you're not quite sure what you want to do, go to a conference. When I was doing the dealership, I had at least 20 people inbox me every single day about credit repair. And I thought credit repair was illegal, right? I'm like, credit repair? I'm like, obviously, hey, sending your clients that don't get approved, I can fix their credit score. I'm like, credit repair? So what do? I fly my behind to Miami to go to a conference. VIP, second row. Okay, you made $1 million doing credit repair? Well, what you do? And that's the software. And I learned the entire credit repair. I learned the whole industry in that weekend. Okay, left with contact information with some heavy hitters. Okay, credit repair, like it. not for me. I'm not doing all, I was like, okay, I see what it is. It's not illegal. Okay, I see what it is. Now I see why everyone's hitting me up, because I have the people who have the bad credit. Got it. Okay, that's not what I want to do. But now I know the ins and outs of credit repair, and then it just cost me a couple $1,000s for the conference, a plane ticket there, a hotel, and I got the software, learned it all, and I was kind of like, yeah, I don't want to do this, but now I know what it is. Okay, so we got to educate yourself. You got to go to where the experts are in the industry. Okay, now let me see, because I told y'all I was going to answer y'all questions yesterday, and I had to leave because my mama came. So hold on. Hey, Mom. Yeah, Mom is here. Okay, let's see. Questions. Okay. How do I get my business listed in 411? 411 is you're just going to go to 411.com and list your business. But it doesn't need to be a cell phone. It needs to be a business number if you're going to list it in 411. While I'm looking at these questions, another common mistake is not having your financials, okay? So if you're in business, you got to have financials. Every business needs to have a P&L or a profit and loss statement, okay? That's going to be where you have all the income you received minus all your expenses, and it's going to give you that bottom number called your net profit, okay? So at the end of the month, all the income you made will be called your gross revenue. Gross means everything together, okay? After you take out rent, payroll, all your expenses, that number at the bottom, that's what your net profit is. I mean, that's what you're really bringing home. Now, depending on our cash flow, if you cannot afford a bookkeeper, an accountant, or a CPA, they have software programs like QuickBooks, I think Net Zero, FreshBooks, but you need some kind of accounting software, okay, where every day, every week, you will go in and you'll type in whatever was your income. So I made X amount in credit cards, I made X amount in cash, and then you're going to put all your expenses in. It will calculate it for you. As we're growing, or if you're just too busy and you can afford it, you need to have a bookkeeper. You have to know your numbers. Are you making money at the end of the month? Okay, because a lot of times, depending on how you receive your cash flow, you may be receiving enough cash flow just to keep you going, but you're really just spinning in circles. We're not growing. Okay, so you got to have your financials. You got to have a P&L statement or a profit and loss statement, knowing at the end of this month, I made $5,000, I made $7,000, I made $10,000, whatever that number is. Why you need to know this is because, one, we got to compare this year or last year to this year. So in every business, there's seasons, okay? There's going to be like a harvest season where, it's just rocking and rolling. There's going to be a skim season, okay? There's no industry where all 12 months is just booming, okay? So you want to know what is your business's season. So going from last year's numbers, you're going to be able to see, okay, in these months, I was really high. In these months, I was low. Okay, now I can kind of see what my trend is, number one. Number two is our business growing. So if Joy's Lashes did $10,000 last year in March, and this year I did $8,000, we got a problem. Or if last year I did $10,000 in March, and this year I did $10,000, we got a problem. I didn't grow in the whole 12 months. I didn't get no more new clients. You have to know your numbers to know, am I doing what I need to do, or is something wrong? Because sometimes there's something that's wrong. Maybe we have too much payroll. Maybe I'm not charging enough. But if you don't know these numbers, you don't know that there's a problem. And so what happened with the problem if you don't touch it? If I break my leg and I don't get a cast, what's going to happen? It's going to get worse and worse and worse and worse and worse. And now I don't walk on it for too long without having a cast. Now I can never walk the same again in life. Versus if I broke my leg, had the surgery, got a cast, I would have healed quicker and been able to recuperate and move on. Okay, so we got to know our numbers. One, are we growing? Two, am I bleeding somewhere? Is there something off? Three, what are my seasons? So on my heavy months, I know in the summertime, are big months. So when I have that extra cash flow, I'm putting away, because I know in January, February, March, those are slim months. Or people who have a industry that's affected by taxes, and you already know February, March, and April are going to be big months. Okay, but maybe the summertime, is slower. So you got to have these financials. Okay. Another reason why we got to have these financials is because eventually we're going to be applying for some kind of loan, some kind of funding, and they're going to ask us for our last 3 years P&L statements. Okay. We can't just start making up stuff. They're going to want them already done. And you need to know, does your business qualify for funding based on these P&L statements? Besides the P&L, we got to have a tax return. Now, in the beginning, we're investing in our business. We have a lot of expenses. I get all that. But after 5 years, if you keep losing money, the IRS is going to call your business a hobby. And if you're a hobby, you're not able to take the same tax deductions as a business. So you don't want to keep, having all these losses, because the IRS will deem your business a hobby. Number two, if we're doing business, we're doing business. Okay. Now, yes, there is tax planning, and yes, there is, ways to prepare for if we're going to have a big capital gains tax, if we're going to have a big windfall. There's ways to kind of brace for impact. However, if you're running a business that's making money, it needs to show that you're making money on the tax return. Okay, now will the tax return always show the true numbers? It won't, because there are a lot of tax deductions that are available to you that your CPA or accountant will, really promote. And I will make my note. I will at you guys in a couple of different accountants and CPAs that can help you with your bookkeeping, getting your books together. If you don't even know what bookkeeping is, like helping you kind of get a system as to how you can kind of organize your receipts to get them to them, and then work on getting you guys some financials, your profit and loss statement, and your tax return. Okay, so if you haven't filed all that, if you're not filing it correctly, now is the time to kind of get all that stuff together, so that as we're growing our business, we are, getting our business credible and verifiable for funding. We are establishing our business credit profile. So now when it's time to, to go get the money, we have our ducks in the row. Okay. We got our stuff together. We're not just at the last minute, oh, I need this, and trying to do stuff backwards. We're just going to do it together. When do you recommend leaving a job, or what if you get fired? Okay, Imani. So leaving a job. Working a 9-to-5 may or may not be for you. Okay. Being a serial entrepreneur, or being a full-time entrepreneur, meaning I'm only going to eat what I kill. Some people thrive under pressure. Okay. Some people, it may be too much for them. So whoever you are, you need to do what's best for you. Now, the benefit in working a 9-to-5 is you're going to have a steady flow of income. We're going to have some kind of benefits. And then if your 9-to-5 is paying all your bills, or if your 9-to-5 is paying all your bills and giving you some money left over, then you're able to, kind of reinvest some of that leftover money into your business. So you aren't stressed. We're not out on the streets. We are living and thriving. Maybe you're on a budget to kind of get some of that 9-to-5 money into our business. Okay. Now I know on Instagram, it's all the quotes about, working for yourself and living your dream and all of that. Baby, being a full-time entrepreneur is hard. Okay. It's hard. It's because you quit your job and get your logo and your website and inventory is not going to guarantee people are going to come in. Okay. It's going to get skimmed. No matter how strong of a person, no matter how great your business is, every full-time owner has gone to that breaking point of, I may be filing bankruptcy. I may be not being able to pay my mortgage. Like, this shit is looking real funny. Okay. If you can't handle that kind of pressure, then you may want to just keep your 9-to-5 job and work your side hustle and forget what Instagram has to say about anything, because you're the only person that has to provide for you and your kids. Okay. Now, on the other hand, some people are like, I need that pressure. I'm that kind of person. Like, I need my back against the wall. If my back's against the wall, like if it's 3 of y'all against one, like that's where I thrive under pressure. I thrive under like the walls caving in. When stuff gets chaotic, like that's when I can think outside the box. Okay, so I'm working for a firm. And I made a plan. I said, I'm going to leave this firm and start my own law practice. I'm going to give myself 6 months. I'm going to save for 6 months. So I took my nails off, kind of really fine-tuned my lifestyle for 6 months. I don't know how long it took me to save that money, but I had enough. I saved up enough money to where I could pay all my bills for 6 months and nothing changed. So I can keep my same lifestyle for 6 months. And I just said, Joy, you got to go out here and make something shake in 6 months. And I did. Okay. So I think it's all dependent on you, what kind of pressure you have and what kind of responsibility you have. I got married late. When I was married, I had kids late. So when I started all this, it was just me. I didn't have no one else depending on me. Okay. So Joy, at 40 as a single mom, that she may make a different decision working in 9 to 5 than a 24-year-old Joy, who is solo dolo, like let's go for it. But what kind of pressure, what kind of stress can you handle? That's what I would say. If you want to leave your job, but make a plan, because just because you hang that shingle on your door and your logo and you got the inventory, baby, it's hard. It takes a lot of money, a lot of time to get those clients in the door. So you want to just be prepared for that. Plus, the money, you're going to need more money to keep that business going. Okay, let's see what the other questions are. Okay, why do I need a virtual address? Okay, so you get a virtual address for a couple of reasons. Number one, if you put your home address on your LLC, either articles or certificate of formation, and someone looks up your business, that information is public record. So anyone can look you up and see where you live. So you may not want people rolling up on you or knowing where you live. Number two is if you are trying to establish business credit, if you are trying to, get funding, the underwriters are going to Google that address to see what pops up. But they're expecting some kind of office building to pop up or some kind of business location. If they Google that address, an apartment complex comes up, a house comes up, they're going to flag your company as high risk. Okay, and that means that they are not going to lend to you or extend you any credit. Even if we are making $10 million out of our home, whatever we're doing, we still need to have some kind of corporate presence. So a virtual address is not a P.O. box. It's not a UPS store. A virtual address is going to be an actual business that lets you rent out office space. So when you walk in, there'll be a receptionist to greet you. There's different plans you can have. You can have like your phone lines ring to them. When it rings, they'll answer, "Hey, Joyce Lashes, how can I help you?" You can actually rent office space there to meet people for like meetings. But a virtual address is a business that lets you pay them monthly to use their address. They will collect your mail. Some will email you the mail. Some you have to go pick up. But you need that virtual address if you don't have a physical business location or a business address, so that you have a separate address from you and your business. Third is going to be when you're doing, applying for funding, there's going to be an application. They're going to ask for your name, your number, your address. Then they're going to ask for the business name, the business number, and the business address. Well, if your phone number and the business phone number is the same, red flag. If your address and the business address is the same, well, red flag, okay? If Walmart has a corporate headquarters, it's not the owner's home. So that's why you need to have a virtual address. It's going to cost you between like $30 and $45 a month. That's just going to be the cost of doing business. Now, if you can't afford it, I'm telling you what needs to happen. If you can't afford it, then you may have to have your home address on your LLC. As you're working your business, you already know, well, I got to save up for my virtual address. I got to save up for my copyright transfer agreement. I got to save up for my trademark. You have a list of things that you know I need to do. So we're just starting off. We barely got money to get, our inventory. We barely have money to start. Baby, start wherever you are, but just make your list of what needs to happen. So on a month where, we have extra money, I'm not going to get my nails done. I'm not going to get some new bundles. I'm not going to buy me an outfit. I'm going to use that money to get my virtual address. Okay. So that's why you need a virtual address. Okay. Let's see. How much would you consider too much to pay for VIP? Okay. I am a strong believer in investing in yourself. I am a strong believer that opportunity only knocks once. Okay, so there is no limit to what I would pay to put myself where I felt like I needed to be. Okay. Now, am I saying, take your rent money to go to a conference and then God work it out? I'm not saying that. Okay. You have to be financially responsible. However, who is going to be at the event? And we need to be going with a game plan. Okay. Like when I went to the credit repair, I was like, I already researched the speakers, saw what they were speaking about. I'm like, okay, I need to talk to these 3 speakers, and I need to leave with 3 people who are making $1 million or more in the industry, so I can figure out what are y'all really doing and what is it for real? Like, give me the game for real, and I want to, that's what I did. So for the speakers, I pay what I needed to pay to learn that. Getting in the room is the hardest part. Okay. But if you're a new person and you need a mentor, that's where they are. So the question is going to be, what's too much for you? If you could just maybe cut off your nails, lashes, not take any girls out, not be outside for 3 months, and use that money to put yourself in the room where you're sitting next to all the people killing it in the industry, and you leave with 2 mentors who give you 2 of the secrets that change your mindset and change your outlook, and maybe they turn you on to 2 vendors, 2 ways to get a contract, 2 things to grow your business so that your business income doubles from this year to from next year. What's that worth to you? So when it comes to business, when it comes to investing, when it comes to I'm going to sow a seed to make some money, you have to sow the seed. You can't start a business and drive a Benz and have the Chanel and have the nails with the designs. And that doesn't all happen. Okay. There's called seasons in life. There's a dark season where shit is bad. Okay. Shit's just bad. Hope, brace for impact, but don't quit. Okay. Then you got your planning season. We are just trying to invest in ourselves for planning. And then you got the harvest season. Like it's just, you are tripping over the money. I mean, you thought you was going to be making X amount. You're making double. Like it's just contracts are coming. The clients are coming in the door. You have no idea where all this stuff is coming from. You're just tripping over money and opportunities. But you only going to get a harvest based on how much you planted. So if you're asking me how much is too much, if the right people are in that room, that's priceless. Because it's who you know. You can take the long way and, bust your butt and blah, blah, blah. But if I meet the right person and they put me here, or they co-sign for me, or they turn me on to this, I'm destined for success. It's not always what you know, it's who you know. When I was in law school, I went to Southern in Baton Rouge. Any Jags online? But the great thing about Southern is 45, well, back then it was 45% white. And I'm like, well, I'm at HBCU, like no shade, but like LSU was literally 5 minutes away. Like, why are y'all at Southern? All their daddies, judges, politicians, own their own law firm. And so their whole thing is like, well, we just need the degree. Like, my daddy is blah, blah, blah. My daddy is blah, blah, blah. My daddy is the governor. Like, all their daddies were something. They just needed the degree. So why pay that Tulane, tuition? Why pay an expensive tuition? Why not just pay this? Because I don't need the connections. I already have the connections. Okay. So it's the connections are priceless. You should be going to at least 1 or 2 conferences a year. Just do what I'm saying for just 1 year. Just cut down all what you're doing. Just live like you're broke. Just live like you're broke and take that extra money and just put it in your business and put it in going to a conference. But don't go to a conference and just sit there and be cute. Like, you got to go to a conference like, okay, I'm trying to, touch as many people in this VIP, get as many cards, follow up, like have a plan and work the plan. Like, you have to work the conference. Okay. We're looking professional. We're not getting no one's number to holler at them. Like, if it's business. Okay. I don't care if Jay-Z's there. Don't give him your personal number. Like, it's just business, but it'll change your life. It'll change your life. Is it okay to put your face as a logo? Yeah, if you're the face of the company, that's fine. Make sure you have a copyright transfer agreement with the graphic designer who did it to make sure that you own that logo after they make it for you. What is a good business email? A good business email is going to have your domain at the end. So if my domain name is joylashes.com, then I should have info@joyslashes.com, customer service @joyslashes.com, but something with your domain at the end. No Yahoo, no Gmail, iCloud, any of that. Are virtual addresses good to have for your business? I seen an ad about a virtual address. Okay, I think I answered that, Black Shot. Yes, you need to have a virtual address. For the small business grant, does it go by business credit? Okay, grants. Grants is not going by credit. Grants doesn't care how new your business is. The only requirements for a grant are going to be an LLC. Let me push pause. There are like 3 startup grants in the August bundle where they're just like, baby, you can have a business idea. Okay. They're just like, baby, if you thinking about a business, if you pass the business by, if you pass the business driving down the street, apply. But most grants are going to want an LLC. The restrictions when it comes to grants is going to be people who make too much money. So you can't make more than $2 million. You can't have more than X. It's going to be restricting the bigger established businesses from getting this money. So no, grants are not based on credit. Grants are really based on need. Why do you need the money, and how well can you write that right? How well can you write why you need the money and what you're going to do with it? Okay. Yes, I will save this live. How do you get trade lines or business credit? Okay, so Pamper Me Pretty Day Spa, you need to book my one-on-one business credit program. But basically, it is a process. So business credit is not going to be like personal credit, okay? All that authorized users and buying a trade line, that's not how business credit works. Business credit has to go through stages. And it's going to take you about 30 to 90 days to kind of start those stages together. But our business has to first be credible and verifiable. But eventually you will be able to have trade lines for business credit. QuickBooks, Net Zero, and FreshBooks, what? Okay, so 12, Marquita, I was talking about accounting software. So every business owner needs to be able to know their numbers. They're going to have their gross income minus their expenses, and that's going to be what your net profit is, or what you're really taking home. To do your accounting, there's different softwares. That's what I was saying. Those are the different softwares you can use to do accounting. Or you can have a bookkeeper. And I'm going to, when I say this live and repost it, I'm going to put some really good accountants and CPAs in the caption. How can we do business credit without the tiers? Buying unnecessary things. Okay, so Marquita, here's business credit 101, okay? If you're looking at it like you're buying unnecessary things, then we aren't understanding what business credit is. Business credit is going to be showing that your business can handle the credit, can handle this loan, can handle this line of credit. Most vendors that businesses use do not report to the business credit bureaus. There are 3 business credit bureaus: Dun & Bradstreet, Small Business Equifax, Small Business Experian. Okay. In order to establish business credit, you can only start with what they call tier 1 vendors. Okay. Tier 1 vendors are going to be companies that will give you a trade line. A trade line is going to be a line of credit. So, hey, I'm going to give your company $1,000 trade line or $1,000 net 30 account. That means you can buy $1,000 worth of product. I'm not going to make you pay for it today. You're going to pay for it in 30 days. Okay. The only people that will give your business any kind of trade line, any kind of net 30 account, is what they're going to call a tier 1 vendor. Okay. The stuff that you can get from a tier 1 vendor is boring. But for us to get to tier 2 and tier 3, we have to go through tier 1. So you're not buying unnecessary things. You are paying to play. That's the game. You got to pay to play. So if you want to be able to have an account with Apple, if you want to have an account with American Express, if you want to have an account with Best Buy, if you want to have an account with Exxon, Shell, any kind of gas card, if you want to be able to go buy a car at Ford for your company, you got to have a tier 1 account. You got to pay to play. So no, there is no way to skip tier 1. Like I can't go from kindergarten to 12th grade. I can't skip all 11 grades. You know, I can't pay a big fee to go from kindergarten and now I'm about to graduate from high school. Maybe you can skip 1 or 2 grades, but you got to go to each grade. Okay. So that's how you establish business credit. It's not going to happen in 30 days. You're not going to get a car in 60 days. You can't buy a trade line. You can't cheat the game. You can't cheat the hustle on this one. Okay, let me see. What doing I need to qualify for startup funding? For startup funding, you need to be credible and verifiable. I did a long live yesterday. You want to check that one out. But basically, when the lenders look you up, you got to be able to be verifiable and credible. You got to have a business address, a business phone number, a logo, a website, social media presence. All your information must be consistent amongst everything. Now we got to have a business credit profile. Okay. So you're walking into a bank asking for a loan. They want to know, is your business loan worthy? Meaning, can you afford to pay me back? So take the business part out. If you were to walk into Mercedes today to buy a car, what are they going to ask for? They're going to ask for, your proof of income. They want to see, can you afford this car? Meaning, after you pay all your bills that you got at home, you have enough money in your check left over to pay this car note. So if you're a brand new business walking in for funding, how are they going to know if you can handle this note? Do you have income coming in? If we don't have income coming in, what kind of trade lines do we have reporting on our business credit report? If I am fresh out of high school with nothing in my name, can I walk into Mercedes and buy a $100,000 car? No, because I don't have any credit on my credit profile. They don't know, can I handle the credit? Can I make the monthly payments? So if you have nothing reported to your business credit report, we have no revenue, and you're walking into a bank to get funding, what are they funding you for? They don't know, can you pay them back? So there are certain procedures and certain things you have to do to get funding from a bank. Now, if you want to do some kind of alternative funding, you want to maybe do crowdfunding, you want to do angel investors, there are other ways to get money. You will have to give up some ownership, meaning you won't own 100% of the company. You're going to give away 5, 10, 15% to get this money. There are things called a hard money loan, where someone will give you some upfront cash at an insane amount of interest. But if you need that money to make something shake, you may do that. But if you're talking about traditional funding from a bank, a line of credit, you have to have revenue or not even revenue. You got to have a business credit profile, and you got to be verifiable and credible. When should I open the business bank account? The second that you get your LLC. You need to go ahead and have that bank account. Whom and where can I get startup funding for my trucking business? Okay, so trucking is a high-risk industry. And if you're looking to buy a truck, that's going to be a 6-figure expense, okay? So if you're a startup, startups, I don't know how old my people are on this live, but have we ever heard of Master P? Like getting it out the trunk of the car. Like startup means it's ugly. It's ugly. Startup means, the packaging, maybe come from Sam's Club, but the content is good. My product is good. My service is good, but it's not looking like, it's coming from Walmart quite yet. That's startup. Let's just start. Okay, so start however you can start, and you may have to start with some of your own revenue. Or if you want to be able to use other people's money, we got to have a business, and then we got to establish our business credit profile. And then once you get, into your tier 2s, into your tier 3s, we can leverage that to help us with the trucking company. But if you're asking, I have a brand new LLC, a new EIN, a new bank account, no money in it, and no business credit profile built out, there's nothing that we can do with that scenario, unless you want to give up some ownership interest, which I would never recommend that, because you don't know how big you're going to be. You mentioned 10 deposits monthly. What if you're a service-based income? What are examples of deposits can I do? Okay, H-Down Prop Rentals. If the people, I don't understand your question. So if people are paying you, so a deposit can be like Square depositing, like if you use Square or PayPal and they're paying with the credit card, they deposit that money into your account. That's a transaction. So just because you're a service-based, I'm confused. Re-ask me your question, because service-based business still makes money. So you should still be able to either have a deposit from your POS system, or you're depositing cash. Entrepreneur and self-employed is different. It's time to boss. Come on, Marquita. Yes. Okay, let's see what else I got. Let's see. What all do I need to have? What all needs to have the same address? Your LLC document. So depending on your state, it either be an articles of organization or to be your certificate of formation. Your EIN number. So what normally happens is I'm starting my LLC with a brand new business. I use my home address, and I go get a virtual address. But although I have the virtual address, the address on my LLC is still, it's not changed. So you got to do an amendment on your LLC to update that. Then we got to change our EIN so that that's the same. So when you walk into the bank with your LLC articles and your EIN, the information is the same. Then when you have your tier 1, tier 2 vendors, we're going to have on those accounts, we're going to have our same address. On our Dun & Bradstreet number, it's going to be our address. So everything is the same. So that's when I say same address, all that needs to be the same. It needs to be consistent. What are the best companies to use for a virtual address? Google virtual address that's in your state. Some will be Regis. I'll put that in the caption. Virtual address. I'll put that in the caption when I post this. But like Regis, REGUS, Da Vinci, DAVINCI. Those will be some. IOB I use now when Google, it pulls up there. Okay, I don't know what you're saying. Okay, I can't hear. Will this be posted on your timeline? Yes, I will post this on my timeline. How do you change your address on your LLC? You have to do an amendment with your Secretary of State. Let's see. Gotta be disciplined. Yes, you gotta be disciplined. Gots to be disciplined. Relationship over, baby. Be in these comments. Yes. Okay. Let me see. Any more questions? Before I go? Repeat. Oh, you're not speaking English. Okay. I need to book that. I missed it. Okay. Should you hire legal representation when starting an LLC? If so, what are the best steps to start? So, I always believe in having a professional, do whatever it is I need to be done. And I always say, have an attorney or a CPA form your LLC for this reason. If you mess up or you do your LLC wrong, it's just going to cost you more money to amend it, to fix it. Okay, number one. Number two, if you've never formed an LLC before, you may be putting things that are not correct that you don't know are not correct. And then it's not until something happens, the lawsuit happens, the other attorney, is, pulling up your articles of organization, and you have yourself listed as a manager, not a member, or, whatever. And then now there's a problem. Your LLC is the structure of your business. It's the foundation of your business. It's like the first thing, and we're building on that. So if the foundation for your house is janky, no matter how gorgeous the house, how big the house, how much marble you have on the house, the bomb roof, if your foundation is shaky, it's not gonna last. So when it comes to your numbers, don't do your own tax return. Well, I can do it myself. You probably can. But when the IRS comes for an audit and they're asking you who does your books, and you say, oh, it's me. Well, we don't have like a third party involved. So they're not going to really take your numbers as valid because you did them. So now they're going to be sniffing around some more, Can you do your own trademark? I'm sure you can. Okay. Is that the best thing to do? Like, there are professionals here for a reason. So I always say, for your LLC, for your corporation, for your contracts, I'll just Google it. Do you even know what should be in the contract? You don't even know what should be in the contract. Is it the correct wording for your state? So when you're dealing with business and profession, you want to always have a professional. Because either you're going to pay now or you're going to pay later. Okay, bam. Are there grants for startups with DBAs? I didn't want an LLC because I knew I was going to trademark, which I'm working on. Can DBAs get startup grants? Well, there are 2 grants for DBAs. For people who are wanting to start a business. So yes on that. But I don't get why you want to be a DBA to get a trademark. You need to have an LLC, and then for a trademark, you need to have an LLC that's going to hold your trademark, meaning it's going to own your trademark, okay? Because if you start a great business, your trademark will then be an asset, and you don't want to get sued in your company and lose your trademark. So you should definitely form your LLC first and get the trademark in your LLC name, and that LLC should be your holding company. Is this firm, okay, about this firm page. I do have a firm page, but there's also a fake firm page that's going to go into your DMs and say, hey, friend, do you want to get the grant bundle? And they're going to convince you to hire a grant writer, and they're going to say the website's down, and they're going to ask you to Cash App them some money. Now, if you follow me, you already know Cash App is not for your business, so that is not me. So do not Cash App. No one, any money in the DMs. That is not me. I have a website. All payment is taken through the website on my payment processing system. Okay, so I do have a firm pay, but if someone, I do not jump in DMs. I don't jump in DMs. I'm only responding to a DM. I don't do all that fishing. That's just not me. If you got a question for me, you'll hit me up. I'm not doing all that. So if someone's in your DM saying, hey friend, that is not me. So please do not send them any money. Do you recommend establishing a solid business foundation or perfecting your skill and talent? Okay, so Miss Queen, I think we need to do them together. Perfecting your skill and talent has nothing to do with forming your business or having a solid foundation. So maybe ask me your question a different way. I never heard of a tier. How many are there and what companies are in a tier? Okay, so Pamper Pretty Day Spa, you need to go ahead and get my program. But there are going to be 3 to 4 tiers. Tiers are going to be the levels of business credit that you can get. So level 1 is going to be considered tier 1. And they're going to give you a line of credit with you having no kind of credit history. So you are fresh out of high school. You have nothing. They're going to still give you a line of credit. That's tier 1. Now, what they offer is going to be like janitorial supplies, office supplies, t-shirts. It's boring stuff. Like when you get the catalog, we are not like, hey, it's just kind of like, hey, but we have to pay to play. Tier 2 will then be Amazon. You can get your whole life together on Amazon and your gas cards, and it will be your retail store credit. Okay, so Lowe's, Home Depot, Staples, Office Max. Tier 3 is gonna be your little cash credit cards. Okay, so your Amex, your Capital One. So the tiers are gonna be the different levels of business credit. The thing is, you gotta have tier 1s knocked out. And so business credit is really how many trade lines you have and how you're making your payments. Because in business credit, paying your bills on time is like, the bare minimum. Or personal credit, oh my God, you pay your bill on time. You know, business credit, they want that bill early. If you shoot that gun, I'm going to beat the brakes off of you. Okay? So tier 1 will give you credit with you having nothing. Tier 2 is only going to give you credit if you have enough tier 1 trade lines reporting to your business credit bureaus. Tier 3 is only going to give you credit if you have enough tier 2 and tier 1 trade lines reporting on your business credit. So if you have a brand new business with no business credit and you go to the bank to apply for a credit card and get denied, that's because that's tier 3 and you don't have tier 1 or tier 2. So you got to go through tier 1 to then get to 2 and then 3. Okay. How long should I use the net 30 before going to tier 2? Ice cream yoga, you need to get my course. I explain all that in my program. If credit strong business installment of a good account to help with tier 1. I was wondering if credit strong business installment, the real right NHNP, I don't understand your question. Say it to me again. Okay, let me see. Should you get a business address before an LLC? Yes. Yes. That you don't have. Okay, if you can't afford to have a business address, get your LLC first. But if you can, get your virtual address and then use that address as your registered agent's address on the LLC and then the LLC's address for your LLC, so you don't have to go back and amend it. Is it best to get a LLC, partnership, or sole LLC? Scrubs, I don't know what you're saying. A partnership is just 2 people doing business together with no structure, so we don't want to be a partnership. You want to be an LLC or a corporation. Okay, let's see. Like, do I create the invoice to myself? H-Town Pro Rentals, DM me. Either DM me or ask me your question differently. I don't know. I don't understand what you mean by creating the invoice for yourself. I changed my business name. Should I obtain a new EIN? Yes, you should. modified pay. Okay, Stacy Manolo, I think you're talking about personal credit. But if you, I don't know what you mean about the mortgage company modifying your payment. If you did a loan modification, that anything dealing with a late house payment is gonna prohibit you from getting any kind of credits. Like a dealership, like when we do people, like if you're late on that house note, or if you were late, it's not going to do it. So a credit score, personal credit wise, I'm not a personal credit expert, so I'm not in my lane. But credit score, when you're dealing with credit, is not just a score. It's it's a score, and then like what's on your credit profile. So all the way with 725, you may have a thin credit profile. So you might not get a credit card because you don't have enough stuff being reported, or a nice mix of different types of credit being reported on your credit report. How do you legally find your business accounts with your personal funds without piercing the corporate veil? Does my business need a promissory note to myself, especially to eventually pay myself back? Hello, who is this? Shiny Rose, the realtor. You need my LLC kit, okay? So if you're funding your LLC, you need to be having an LLC loan agreement. The LLC loan agreement is going to be whenever you put money, your personal money, into your business account to